Edge of Eternity spoilers are in full swing as of today. I can also announce that I am an MTG ambassador for the Edge of Eternity set, so look out for a lot of content around the set when it comes to that, as well as my spoiler card on the 15th. Some of you already heard that announcement from last week when I made it on Twitter and Blue Sky, but again, the 15th for some mill shenanigans, if you will. Today, we're going to be going over some of the fun cards that I saw from spoilers, some commander cards, some sliver support, some crazy constructed stuff going on as well, and a whole lot of in between. Now, if there is a spoiler that I missed out on, let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear some of your broken stuff as well. But when it comes to Magic's first foray into space, let's talk some Edge of Eternities from the kind of MTG preview site on MTG Goldfish. Scryfall's a little slow to the catch, otherwise I would prefer them, and I might use them for future as I go down the line here. The first card I want to talk about is our first mill card from the set, Singularity Rupture, 6 mana total. It's black, blue, and 3 for a sorcery that says destroy all creatures, then any number of target players each mill half their library rounded down. First and foremost, not going to be modern playable. Let's be honest, it's a 6 mana board wipe. But when it comes to commander, this is fantastic because it says any number of target players. Now it doesn't get around the hexproof effect, but it can then mill everybody. It can even mill yourself if you need some type of graveyard filling on your side. Half their library rounded down, notably, a little frustrating, not rounded up. But again, just a great option for commander when it comes to milling everybody all at once. When it comes to Frenzied Baloth, this card is kind of insane, right? Green for a 3/2. This spell can't be countered. Trample haste. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Combat damage can't be prevented. Isn't this card just like absolutely really good? I mean, look, if Dimir and blue-white control and stuff like that are going to be all over standard, and control decks are going to be good after this, like, isn't Frenzied Baloth just like a crazy soup of words? Like, this feels like Questing Beast Light in many ways. Like, this card has so much freaking text on it. It almost doesn't have a downside. Like, it's not even a 3/1, it's a 3/2. Like, this card's actually like really good. Like, am I tripping out? Like, I don't know if this is going to be broken in modern or anything, but it just feels really good in a world where giving your creature spells uncounterable makes sense. Combat damage can't be prevented is really powerful as well against like fog-based strategies. It just feels really good. I don't know. Just let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I feel like this card, like I'm missing something about it. Like I feel like it's just too good to be true. Cosmogoyf is our introduction into the Goyf of the set. This one notably, it's Golgari, so black and green, for a creature elemental Goyf that is star and star +1 for its power toughness, so it's at least a 0/1 with nothing else included. It says this creature's power is equal to the number of cards you own in exile, and its toughness is equal to that +1. So instead of graveyards with traditional Goyfs and many other conditions with other Goyfs, we have Cosmogoyf that cares about exiled. We know this is important for warped cards, which is a new version of cheating out cards at a lower cost, but then the cards go into exile from there. When it comes to Cosmogoyf, the biggest interaction that a lot of people are talking about is in combination with Demonic Consultation. 1 black for an instant that says choose a card name, exile the top 6 cards of your library, then reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card with the chosen name. Put the card in your hand and exile all other cards revealed this way. So when it comes to commander specifically, you're not playing this in Legacy, restricted in Vintage and all that stuff. When it comes to commander, if you have like a Cosmogoyf going in for an attack, notably it doesn't have any combat kind of tricks, so giving it flying and trample is going to be very important. But this is just going to be a great way to attack with a Cosmogoyf, Demonic Consultation yourself, instant speed, exile everything, and then go in for a giant swing. And then if you're in Sultai, then you're going to be able to maybe Thassa's Oracle after that. So kind of like a funny way to synergize with that, just an all-in type of thing. Obviously, you can just name a card and maybe get there, whatever it is. Maybe you put a card at the bottom with some type of bottom effect, that maybe you'd play in Grenzo or whatever. Just a really cool way to get out a bunch of damage when it comes to Cosmogoyf. So a really cool thing when it comes to that. But right now, the big Goyf probably is like Lurgoyf, or not Lurgoyf, The Barrowgoyf, the black one. The black Goyf is absolutely insane in Legacy right now, but when it comes to Commander as well, that card is the bee's knees. Next up is going to be talking about the Shocklands. We know that they're going to be reprinted, and the full arts are absolutely amazing. I definitely want some number of copies of these. Like, look at how sweet these are for the modern mill deck. I'm definitely going to be looking at getting some of these Shocks. Super sweet. The art is super cool. Love the space theme on them, but we're going to be getting 5 of the Shocks, likely the next set coming with Kamigawa later down the line, or not Kamigawa, sorry, wrong set. I don't know why I'm forgetting the name of the set that's coming out in January, but it's not Kamigawa. I'm being dumb. Lorwyn is the name of the set that we're likely going to be getting the next 5 fetches, having all 10 in standard from there. Next thing I want to mention is the rare cycle of lands. Notably, this rare cycle is not a legendary group of lands, which is really interesting because you have a bunch of unique place names. I would figure they would be legendary or kind of unique, but okay, so you can have multiple copies of these out. But they're really balanced in the sense that, you know, they come in tapped, they tap for a color. So every single one, there's going to be a red one, a black one, white one, whatever. And then they all have the same ability of station, where you can tap any number of target creatures, add counters onto it by powering up the station equal to its power. So if you have a 5 power creature and you tap that 5 power creature to the station ability, you're going to be adding 5 charge counters onto this land. Once you are at 12 or more, this land taps for blue, tap, add kind of blue mana for each artifact you control. So it becomes a soft Tolarian Academy. Tolarian Academy can just tap. This requires you to tap this and another blue source. So honestly, not that broken. Probably going to see a little bit of commander play when it comes to just its playability overall when in constructed. Seems win more, especially once you have out a bunch of creatures that can actually tap out for that level of mana. I'm just not really sure if, I don't know. I'm just not really sure if it can get to that point of being playable in modern, coming in tapped, requiring the power up. These will probably see limited play in standard as well. Not that great. Now I'm going to name a bit of a problem I have with the warp ability. So specifically, it's like they're putting rules text in reminder text, and like they're kind of like mixing it. And I don't think it should be this way. So follow me here. Timeline Culler, black for a 2/2 with haste. It says when you may cast this card from your graveyard using its warp ability. Okay, cool. All right, so you get some recursion if you were to like mill it out and everything. Warp is an ability that says, you pay its warp cost. In this case, you play black and 2 life. You may cast this card from your hand or graveyard for its warp cost. Wait, so you can pay this at a reduced cost and some life from your hand, but why would it say you can cast it from your graveyard twice? Is that part of Warp's ability? Like you can cast all Warp cards from graveyard? That'd be kind of insane, right? Because it says here you may cast this from your graveyard with its Warp ability and adds it into reminder text. If you do, exile this creature at the beginning of the next end step. You may cast it from exile on a later turn. So you can get it out of exile, which is really nice. So you get to cast a card twice. But you can cast it from its graveyard on the Timeline Culler. It says it's twice. If you go to another card that was spoiled earlier, Anticausal Vestige is 6 mana for 7/5 Eldrazi. That says when this creature, by the way, Eldrazi are returning. When this creature leaves the battlefield, draw a card. Then you may put a permanent card with mana value less than or equal to the number of lands you control from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. You can warp for 4. Warp says you may cast this card from your hand for its warp cost. Exile this creature at the beginning of the next end step. Then you may cast it from exile on a later turn. So in this case, it doesn't add the graveyard reminder text. It adds the hand part. Why are we doing this in reminder text? Shouldn't reminder text just be rules text? We're adding in parts of the card into the reminder text for an ability that's not necessarily linked to the ability itself. It's linked, like that graveyard piece was just for that card. Warp in general is just paying a reduced cost to be able to play it from your hand and then putting it in exile, and then you can cast it for its actual cost later down the line. What are we doing here? Like, okay, the cards themselves are pretty cool, right? Like if you go to Timeline Culler, it's a card that has haste. It's going to be some type of black aggro card. If you're able to mill it out, great, you can cast it from graveyard for its warp cost. Going to be a pretty sweet card. Anticausal Vestige is really cool. You probably want to warp this thing so that it leaves, you can draw a card and then cheat something out. You get a lot of value. The thing is with warp cards is they also don't gain haste, which is a big downside as well. There is balancing. A lot of times the warp cards have like powerful ETBs, and so they're going to come out and get out immediate value. They may not be able to attack or whatever, but you do get some type of immediate value. They then leave. You might get a leave abilities like with something like Anticausal Vestige, which might be a way to cheat things out. Obviously, it's not going to be anything too crazy because it's equal to the number of lands you control, but still pretty good late game in a commander deck regardless, though. I'm not a fan of the whole reminder text thing going on. Let me know if you have an explanation for that down below. Next one is going to be the Sliver support. Really surprising out of here. Thrumming Hivepool in the regular set. This is not in the commander set. Look at the symbol. Affinity for Slivers, a 6-mana artifact, could be down to 0. Slivers you control have double strike and haste. At the beginning of upkeep, create 2 colorless sliver creature tokens. Pretty sweet. It's a way to just get out slivers over and over again. The sliver players are gonna rejoice. This is potentially just a free sliver that anthems your slivers, makes more slivers. Pretty damn good. Not +1/+1, but gives very relevant keywords in terms of having haste. Pretty good. Pretty good. The sliver players are going to rejoice. Starfield Vocalist is another warp card that has a really sweet ability. If a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So a Panharmonicon effect that you can get out on 2 and then use it for just that turn. You can then cast it later down the line. You obviously don't want to play this out on turn 2 if you have nothing to abuse it with, but then later down the line you can play it for potentially cheaper cost or whatever. A lot of cool things can come out of a card like this. This is a card that I'm definitely going to look to try and put into my Obeka deck as a way to like double up ETBs, and it's a way that you can get out with like the last mode of the initiative. So I'm definitely looking at a card like this, but pretty sweet. I like these effects on creatures because again, my Obeka initiative deck, it's in Grixis, but you can also get it out with the last mode of the Undercity to kind of keep going and maybe power up some other effects that you have. So pretty sweet there. Archenemy's Charm, I should say, is the last card that I want to mention because it's black for a charm. It is specifically like Archmage's Charm. Archmage's Charm, blue, sees moderate to low levels of modern play, counter target spell out of the Modern Horizon set, or target player draws 2 cards, or gain control of target non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. So it could be a creature, it could be a random artifact, whatever it is. A lot of valuable modes on this, especially just because if you don't counter a spell, you can just draw 2 cards and kind of replace it from there. Archmage's Charm, fantastic magic card. Now, when it comes to Archenemy's Charm, a little different. Black for an instant, says choose 1. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Good. Okay, so you get an exile effect. The fact that it gets a planeswalker is pretty sweet too. Still a little costed for black, but charms are there for optionality. Or you can return 1 or 2 target creature and or planeswalker cards from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. Now it's to your hand. It's planeswalker recursion. Okay, that's where you're getting the value from. Still, okay, maybe. Last mode is put 2 1/1 counters on target creature you control. It gains lifelink until end of turn. I kind of feel like the black Archmage's Charm kind of got left to the wayside. I think when you compare it to Archmage's Charm, it's not that. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. I think Archmage's Charm is still a miles better card. You get exile, you get recursion, and it could be planeswalkers. It's not converted mana cost or power toughness or anything like that restricted. There again, commander wise, yes, it's going to be good. When it comes to constructed play, that's kind of what I'm valuing this off of. Most rares that come out these days, yes, there's a place for it in commander. This doesn't scream anything inherently broken, and unfortunately may not see like that modern play. I don't see how this is affecting Pioneer without any type of ban in red. I don't know how this is changing that in any way. Standard is just too hard to tell without the whole set out and everything. We're just in like a really weird world, but maybe there might be a black based control deck, maybe like an Esper or like Still in Dimir type of control deck that wants something like this. But the value you're getting out of it is if the planeswalkers are good. You want to make sure that you can recur creatures and planeswalkers with something like this. Having that optionality is what makes this card good. So overall, that is going to be my quick review of the initial cards that were spoiled from the Edge of Eternities set. Again, I am an MTG ambassador. I'm aware that there are leaks of this set. It has been absolutely insane. A lot of people's preview cards have been leaked absolutely insanely. I ask that you don't engage with those leaks, or if you do engage with them, I can't tell you to, I can't stop you from doing what you want to do. I'm not here to discuss them from an official content creator perspective. I'm not engaging with them in any way, especially on the Mill Discord. We are doing our best to remove them. A lot of people are bringing them up, but I'm not going to be discussing leaks. I will be discussing official spoilers. So to support those content creators, I ask that you, especially if you've seen a leak, at least when a content creator posts about that spoiler that may have gotten leaked, go engage with that post so that Wizards of the Coast knows that, these numbers and these content creators are, kind of getting their voice out there. Have that excitement for this set as you engage with, again, another set that has been leaked like crazy. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know how excited you are for Edge of Eternities. I definitely am myself. Space theme, some mill in this set, a lot of cool things happening. I'm looking forward to spaceships in Magic the Gathering.